Sam, beautiful member of One Life Club. So good to have you here. I'm so excited to actually, I know more about you than most people, but it'll be good to hear from you exactly what do you do, how you do it, how you started as well. So community is more familiar with person that is in front of me, and I look forward to everybody hearing more. So Sam, tell us what you do in detail.
Yeah, so my wife and I run a company called H&S Building. It's a construction company, majority building custom new homes for clients. So pretty much, we kicked the business off 4 years ago, sort of just as COVID hit. So that was a bit of a challenge in itself. But yeah, going back the early days.
You picked the right time. You picked the right time to start.
Yeah, well, that's right. We made the call before COVID, and then COVID hit that we thought, let's just run with it. It's going to be part of the journey, and there's going to be plenty of highs and lows throughout our careers. So this will just be, the first challenge. But yeah, going back to the early days, I suppose, I sort of come out of high school, age of 16, straight into a carpentry apprenticeship.
Where did you go to school?
In Campbelltown, in sort of southwest Sydney.
Yes. And all your life you lived in Sydney?
Yep, been in Sydney, southwest Sydney my whole life, moved around a couple of different places just locally. But it's a great spot, especially for the building industry as well. There's a lot of new estates happening and whatnot. So a lot of land development as well. So it is a good spot to be at the moment. But yeah, sort of progressed through the ranks as a carpenter, and then finished my carpentry apprenticeship, went into my own business, just doing carpentry based. Then obviously to go to that next level, you do your certificate 4, as you know, and then you've got to get your experience up with a couple of different builders to get your builder's license. So sort of did that. And then, 4 years ago, made the leap to start H&S Building. My wife at the time, she was a school teacher, but she has a passion for sort of design and interiors and colours and whatnot. So yeah, it's been a pretty good combination for 4 years now, and we work side by side each other, so we sort of go through the highs and the lows together, which is good. Some people say, don't get in business with your wife and whatnot, but I think we both bring different aspects of what we do to the table, and we don't really butt heads at all, so it's good.
I wouldn't have it any other way. This is discussion that I have quite often with Simon. Both of us obviously work with our partners for a very long time, or forever, should I say. And I always say, anybody, like yourself, because you're working with your wife, you guys are not, how long you guys been married?
So we've been married for 4 years, but been together, I think, for 15 years in total now.
Because you guys are working together for 4 years, you technically been married for 400 years.
Yeah, definitely.
The reason why I say that, because most people, they go to 2 different jobs. Husband goes one way, wife goes the other way. So you really see each other 2 hours a day when you get back from home, and then your body's sleeping, then you're dead. So while you're awake, you only spend 2-3 hours a day. And at least when you're working together, I always say, marriage is 10 times longer when you work with your partner as well. As long as both people are on the same page, you can't beat it, full stop. I love having, my partner and my brother in my business as well, people that I can trust. As long as we are all on the same train, I guess, with the same vision where we want to get. Now, how big step was for you to go back from the carpentry to building? Because I know you build high-end homes. That's a big step when it comes to responsibility, because when you are carpenter alone, you're really responsible for yourself. And then if you have a team of carpenters, you're responsible for 2, 3, 4 people. But there's a big difference running carpentry business and actually becoming a builder, and then of high-end homes, because then you're dealing with client and 100 other contractors, and you're in the middle, putting it all together, making sure client is happy, and every contractor does a great work, and that they're happy. Big difference in the step?
Yeah, definitely. I think that's probably one of the biggest things people probably think, progressing from a carpentry sort of trade to a builder is quite simple, but it's really a big shift in everything when it comes to, as a builder, as you know, it's project management skills, it's people management, organization skills. You're realistically not on the tools being the builder. Having the carpentry background is a great asset to be a builder, I suppose, because you've got that good knowledge. But yeah, like you said, you're sort of that middle person between the architects, the client, and then the trades, the contractors. And that's a big challenge, managing contractors and trades, because they're not all in-house employees. If I could have, you know, the bricklayers, the sparkies, all employees, which is just not viable, you can control it a lot better. But ultimately, we're working with contractors and different suppliers, and we're sort of at their discretion what they're going to do. Sometimes we can't completely control what they do. We can book them in and request that to be done and whatnot. But yeah, and then it's hard because then the clients are sort of, I suppose, coming back to us for the answers, and then we're at the front line, which it can be tough, but at the same time, it's rewarding, and that's all I've known. I'm 33. I've done it for 16 years in the industry now, so it's it was always my dream goal to be where I'm at today. So it's pretty surreal that I'm sort of living the dream in a way. This is what my goal was, because as most people know, you sort of don't start a building company to sort of go out and make a heap of money, because there's a lot of other different business sort of ventures you take on first if you're just in it for the money. But for me, it's a passion. And yeah, we have a team of 16 staff now, and that's sort of naturally grown over the last 4 years. So then there's the other hurdles and challenges of managing employees and staff that work for us directly. So we have a team carpenters full time that work for us, and then obviously a couple of girls in the office, my wife, and a project manager. So yeah, all of a sudden, as the business grows, you think putting more people on that your life's going to get a little bit easier, but ultimately it just different challenges and managing and putting systems and procedures in place to ensure, I suppose, that we're getting the right result, which I feel like we've sort of had that 3 or 4 year of progression, and now we're sort of getting to that really stable point now where we're really sort of delivering sort of high end sort of quality homes.
I think we have some of our members that have 1,000 staff or 300 or 100, and you think to yourself, okay, bigger I get, easier it's gonna get. It's never gets easier, just dealing with different challenges of the business as you are scaling, and then it comes down to how good people can you actually employ that actually do make your life easier as well, how capable they are. Now, being in construction industry, last 3 years has been challenging. So I feel like you have walked into a fire. And I always say, any builder that has survived last 3 years will thrive next 30. Because last 4 years, dealing with 1, COVID, 2, shortage of material throughout Australia. I'm going to start with timber. Price increases of everything, starting from tradies, starting from any kind of material. I don't think a single material stayed the same over the last 3 years. Potentially having clients that have understanding, hey, my project is going to cost 2 million or million or whatever the price is. And then having that tough conversation with client, hey guys, it's not my fault, but construction is going to be X amount of dollars more. What would you say over the last 3 years, with all the mess that has happened in construction, was key reason for any construction company to survive?
Yeah, I think it's like you said, it's been tough because the industry and the prices have moved quicker than what we could sort of imagine. And I think it's just about being sort of just having to change the way we quote and we tender. A lot of builders were probably getting away from fixed price contracts and it's going down that cost plus avenue because it's just too volatile out there to be able to submit prices. I think the key is just sort of during these sort of unforeseen times with different trades, and a lot of trades were out there trying to put their right prices up to jump on the bandwagon. Just about having a good team of contractors and loyal guys behind you that will sort of pull through with you and stick to their prices, I suppose. Because at the end of the day, everyone thinks the builders have all this money, but then we're just the middle guy, and sometimes we feel like we're a bank where trades will submit a quote and then want to come back and say, oh no, sorry, I need more money, where they're not the little guys you want to sort of associate ourselves. I sort of want the guys that, we put a fixed price in, and yes, things might have moved, but the guys that can honour them prices, because there's probably 50 different trades and suppliers throughout a build, as you know, and if everyone puts their price up 5-7%, there goes everything. So I think in the last couple of years, it's just about having that good team of guys, team of trades, suppliers that are willing to sort of stick together and work together and get through it, because like you said, now we're on the other end of it. And I think, anyone that has survived the last 3 years, I can't see in the next 20 or 30 years we have to go through something like that again. I hope not.
Yeah, I hope not too. I mean, look, I always say, old school when it comes to values that I like to think that I have, and people that should have and they're doing business with me. Because unfortunately, over the last couple of years, a lot of people got greedy.
Yeah.
Starting from even contractors, you might have a carpenter that was charging you X amount of dollars even an hour or a contract job or whatever. But because everybody was so busy, there were other people knocking on their doors saying, "Hey, I'll give you X amount of dollars more, do my job."
Yeah.
And then obviously putting pressure back on the builders saying, "Hey, if you don't give me this, I'm leaving." Not thinking long term,
Yeah.
times will change. Now I think, my brother who is a builder, he's got contractors that are calling him every day now asking for work, people that he couldn't get on the phone last year. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah, it's funny. I'm noticing the same thing here as well in Sydney. We've just got our Instagram every day. There's another Sparky or plumber sending a message asking for work, and their rates are coming down. So there's definitely been a big shift, which it's funny because the guys that were greedy will probably get left behind a bit, unfortunately. But yeah,
100%.
yeah.
There was a Instagram video going around yesterday. Sparky, after 2 years, through COVID, Sparky going to, I have to send it to you, have to find it somewhere. Sparky going to quote somebody's job, and he's rocking up in a Lambo.
Yeah, I've seen that. And it gets everyone sharing it at the moment. Yeah, it's quite
Yeah,
funny.
yeah. I was like, straight away I sent it to my Sparky. He responded to me. He said, "Emil, I've been doing your family's work since 2003. That's not me, clearly." I know, but actually, I've never seen more Rams and so many expensive cars over the last couple of years than I
Yeah,
have
yeah.
in this time now. So a lot of you have chosen what I would say challenging part of constructions, because please correct me if I'm wrong, your specialty is high end.
Yeah, that's it. Probably between that $1 to $2 million bracket is where we sort of is our bit of our niche. And it suits sort of with the market we're in our location. But yeah, like you said, it is challenging, but at the same time, it's what business is about. Challenge yourself. And me, I sort of want to keep pushing the bar where I can and keep sort of growing and developing the business and be better for what I can do. Sometimes I get a bit bored if I'm sitting around doing the same thing all the time. So taken on them sort of architectural builds. Every job is different. We're not just building the same sort of cookie cutter home day in, day out. Because it just makes me get bored. So it's nice working with different architects, different clients, different projects in different locations. It just keeps it fresh sort of every day.
Do you think architecture is changing? Because I got a feeling that some of the homes, I'm 44, some of the homes that I built at age 27, they were phenomenal, architecturally designed. I drive past them now and be like, good quality home, but fucking what was I thinking?
Yeah, 100%. It's moving quicker, I suppose. Now that with Instagram and everyone's on Instagram and sort of the Pinterest stuff, and yeah, every sort of manufacturer like the James Hardys, they're bringing out new products day in, day out. Bricks are evolving. So I feel like, yeah, you sort of get worried when certain people do designs. They think, how long is this going to be sort of modern for before it runs out of fashion? But yeah, I think it's just there's so many new materials and different styles coming out. The arches are back in fashion now, and it's just
I know, crazy.
yeah,
That was like really popular in 70s.
yeah,
Now I even got them by a few places in my house as well. And I remember 10, 15 years ago, I was like, oh, that's so old school, old fashioned, and now it's such a in thing as well.
yeah, for sure.
I got a few interesting questions for you. Hope you
Yep.
mind me asking. I'm gonna hit you with a hard one. If you died tomorrow, what would you be most proud of?
I think pretty much, like I said before, going back to from the age of 10 or 12 years old, I always wanted to be a carpenter slash builder. And I think when you stop and reflect, sometimes you get a bit carried away when everything's sort of pumping along, we're working hard. But when I sort of stop and reflect, I feel like, we've all got goals and achievements, but I feel like I have got to where I wanted to get to. Like my goals for the last 5 to 10 years, I feel like I've hit there. So I'm definitely satisfied with what I've got and what I've achieved. But then, like I said before, I suppose I keep moving the bar and the bar gets a bit higher every time. But yeah, I think building this company 5 years ago, we would never have thought of some of the clientele that we have now and the size of the projects we have now. So yeah, I suppose if everything stopped and looked back, Yeah, and it's just, yeah, I've definitely hit my goals, and I'm doing what I sort of set out to do, which is rewarding.
Looking back now, what would you say is the most challenging part of running business?
I think managing people's expectations, managing clients. Obviously, like I said before, with just the more staff you have, you find that your role just keeps changing and developing day in, day out. I think, and probably the trades and the contractors, like I said before, where we're trying to manage somebody else's business, I suppose, but they sort of heavily rely on us. We heavily rely on them to get the job done, to keep the build progressing. So I think, yeah, definitely probably just managing expectations. Sometimes as a builder, you feel like you're a babysitter, you're running a childcare centre. Sometimes if trades on site, you feel like you got to be their accountant sometimes because they're whinging
And
about money and this,
and
that, and
their
the other. And
psychologist, and their friend, and their mother and father, and everything.
yeah, bit of
And
their mentor and keep them on the straight and narrow. But yeah, it's probably that. But look, it's surround yourself with the right people. I suppose it makes our life a bit easier, which is a bit of a goal of us, trying to find good trades that want to work with us and stay with us for the long journey, which makes our life easier. But every day there's a new challenge, there's something random that can happen. It's sort of, yeah, it's a very reactive industry.
what should school teach us that they don't?
I think they should definitely probably put more emphasis on businesses, setting up a business, running a business, because going back to you saying before, from going from being a carpenter to a builder, like there's just one thing about learning how to build homes, but then it's about managing finances, cash flow, taxes, accounting, PAYG, GST. Like so many people, I suppose, they come out of school unless they go into uni and do a degree. You don't really learn it at all. No, not many people understand all that sort of aspects. And I feel like this sort of generation now, I suppose everyone's coming out of school and wants to try to earn the big dollars. So, to try to do that, you've got to sort of go out and be an entrepreneur and start a business up. But yeah, I feel like I didn't really learn much at school, to be honest. So I sort of finished school in 2006. I just couldn't wait to get out and get into a carpentry apprenticeship and go to TAFE and do all that just to learn what I wanted to learn. But yeah, I feel like these days we've got a couple of school-based apprenticeship kids now. So they're sort of setting up these new systems where obviously year 11 and 12, they go on site one day with a builder, one day at TAFE. So it does sort of, sort of give them that little stepping stone into sort of construction, which is a good thing. But at the same time, there should be, I don't know, a sort of a subject that teaches them a bit about business, or just the basics of it, I suppose. What tax percentages are, what's all the bits and pieces, how it works.
I think if you ask me, there should be class on common sense.
Yeah, well, that's a big thing, isn't it? Yeah, if you got
Because
common sense, you can do anything.
I got a feeling that, you know what, I always keep telling people common sense should be your best fucking friend, full
Yeah.
stop. Because that's one thing that most people are lacking of in general. Next 5 years, what's the plan?
I think I've got the business at a point now where our staff is at the right sort of capacity for what we want to do, the benchmark we want to hit. I think going forward, we would like to maybe sort of do half clients and then half sort of property development. I think obviously you've sort of done a fair bit of that yourself, and from everything I'm looking into, you can sort of take control of opportunities. Like there's, building for clients, it's great, it's rewarding, but at the same time, you don't always make money on jobs either too, because it's custom, it's architecture. If it's, in fixed price contracts, there's so many variables. So it'd be nice to sort of do something, set up a sort of separate division within the business that sort of takes one or two developments on, if it's a duplex, if it's, in 2 or 3 block subdivision, and then build something on it to move it on. So I think that's the goal eventually, is to, look at doing that and just, setting up a sort of a little separate arm.
Well, look forward to watching it, and I look forward to seeing you in towards end of April. We're going to be meeting for a couple of days, all of us together.
Yeah, nice.
To doing it as well, and it's been nothing but pleasure having you in our community, and I look forward to seeing you in person again. And thank you so much for sharing us your story.
No worries at all. Thanks, Emil. It's great to be a part of it.
Let's go back to work.
That's it.
Thank you.
Cheers. Thanks very much. See ya.